election day, literally.
Election day, bro.
Yeah, man.
2024.
There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of things people are saying. A lot of things people are doing. How are you taking this election on?
I'm taking this election and all elections. There's definitely going to be a changing of the guard in terms of how we move forward. The last 4 years have been very unique, and you as a business owner knows this as well. From a local standpoint, from a state and federal standpoint, it's been all very unique. We came out of COVID, right? And then we've kind of just like, I almost feel like yesterday was 2020.
For sure.
Does that make sense? But how I'm approaching it is, especially as a business owner, I want to be an encouragement to other people around me, especially young entrepreneurs and small businesses and everything like that, and people that are trying to build families. You know, yeah. I'm young. I'm getting ready to build a family. You're young. You're building your family, and we have a lot at stake, right? Yeah. And who's in office from a state, local, federal level, they affect the environments that we live in, from economy to policies, to education, to healthcare, all these things. And it's important that we be involved in some way. And you're paying taxes.
Sure.
So capitalize on what what you're paying for. Yeah. So be involved. But this particular episode, bro, is about the next 4 years and encouraging individuals to be involved, to learn who's in office, to learn what they're about, understand propositions, really start doing research, being involved in what's happening around you and understanding why it's happening around you. We typically talk about this stuff on the federal election day, or the changing of the guard of the president of the United States, but this is something that you need to be involved with all the time. So that's kind of my approach to this one. I see an opportunity in this election to really talk to real young people, especially small business owners and entrepreneurs that are involved and are trying to build something.
Would you say the local is more important than federal, or they're equally important?
Legislation when it comes to business?
Yeah.
I definitely think local might be more important because, well, it all ties in. They're interconnected, right? But local is what is most immediate to you. And I could be wrong. So if you're a seasoned business person, you have a different opinion, please comment, correct me, whatever you need to do. But local is what's most immediate to you. It's I look at it this way. It's like your local is your house, right? The state is your neighborhood. And the federal is the city or the town. So whatever's happening in your house is what you feel first.
All right.
So.
Okay. Cool. So going through the 2024 ballot, like, what are your thoughts with the proposition and things like that from a business standpoint?
My thoughts on them? I have blanket thoughts on propositions because propositions, in my opinion, they come from involved parties that are involved, parties that know what's going on and know that they can create an environment that's favorable to them, right, and their agenda. So my only thought my only thought towards the propositions that are in place or that are coming out now is I just need to make sure that I read them all and that I vote on them, because from election to election, the propositions can vary. It just depends on who is in certain positions to request proposition, right? Or to make sure that it's on the ballot.
Yeah.
So my approach is tailor my plan, my agenda to succeed to where I can be in a position to, in some way, influence propositions or present propositions. You know what I mean? And I think that's a good fundamental base to go off of, is because there's going to be all types of propositions all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, how aware are you? Are you reading the propositions, and what are you making your decisions based on? Do you have a criteria, or are you just one that just goes with wherever the wind blows? Like, if you don't have a criteria, I think you're vulnerable. So encouraging people to actually have a criteria, meaning what you stand for, the values that you hold, what it's going to take for your business or your life to be successful, and then tailoring your votes towards your criteria. I know you've heard this. I've heard it a lot as well. My vote doesn't matter, or what difference does it make? If you're going to protest, at least submit a ballot that's blank, in my opinion, because no one knows that you're protesting. Like, if you don't vote.
Sure.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
If you just decide that I'm not going to submit a ballot,
I feel like a lot of people are in that same boat, mainly because of the two federal candidates that we have. What would you say? Just vote local and leave that blank instead. If you have some kind of, you're not necessarily happy with both candidates, what would you suggest?
So this is why I say it's important to have a criteria. You need to have a criteria, like a list of values, a list of items that you value, and have a reason for that. Like, the emotional list, when it comes to voting, it almost is irrelevant. And this is where a lot of people go wrong, in my opinion. Because election time comes around and they say, I don't like, the federal candidates. Well, how do you know you don't like somebody? You don't even know them. All you know is what's being presented in media. This is why it's important to have a criteria and understand how to read policies, understand how policies affect at each level of government, from federal to state to local, and all the moving parts. So if you do decide, I'm only going to vote local, and because I don't like the federal candidates, neither of them rub me the right way, I'm in some way going to protest. The effect of either one of those candidates being in position is still going to hit you.
True.
So you do still need to have some level of awareness to say which is going to be the lesser evil, in my opinion. I've had many arguments throughout this cycle. Like, I've had arguments in my family. I've had arguments with other business owners, and healthy arguments, in my opinion. Healthy, like, trying to get to the bottom of like what each other is coming from, which is beautiful. Like, that's the beauty of this country, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. So, from a religious perspective, lots of Christians are going to vote for one candidate over the other one. How do you see it, I should say?
I see that as them voting their criteria, like what we talked about earlier, voting their values. And that's the beauty of true democracy, in my opinion. You have a criteria, you have a base of what you stand for and what you value, and you vote based on that. How do you feel?
Yeah, for sure. I think the thing that probably that I hate to see is when people vote differently than you, and then people can't have open conversations, and then people are demonized in either way, one side or the other, because I think this started in the last, I don't know, 8 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Where, oh, I'm voting this way, but I don't like you because you're voting for X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Or the other one, I'm voting this way. Well, you know? So I hate what politics have become because of that. Because of how people respond to the differences, which I think it's healthy, to have differences, and that helps you understand the other side better.
Yeah.
And that actually breeds and fosters a way to unity is
Absolutely.
when you're able to say, okay, you think different from me, you'll most likely vote different from me, but still, I don't see you as a less of a human being or less of a person. We could still have conversations and still understand each other on that level.
Yeah.
And I think for that fact, I've always said I hate politics.
To some extent, man, I think there's a little bit in everybody that hates the drama of politics, but we all understand to some extent that it's necessary for the system to run, right? Yeah. There needs to be faces, there needs to be individuals in office. But to your point about what it has become in terms of oh, I can't talk to you because you don't vote the same way as I do. That to me is extremely problematic, and I think that comes from agendas in high places, and it's, in my opinion, it's sick because the beauty of humanity, the beauty of community is we're all significant, but we're all different, right? We're all different. And you should be able to be different than me and me be able to respect you the same, whether I agree with you 100% or not. I think it's very closed-minded and divisive.
Yeah, right.
And divisive to legislate or restrict people from being able to disagree.
Right. And it's crazy what it even does on social. I feel like social is even worse than in person because people have the screen that they could hide behind.
Yeah.
So they say whatever they want to say. And I've been reading a lot of comments lately, not even just on politics, just someone might post something you don't agree with and they just slander them for no reason.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is you don't watch the video, you don't read the captions, but you already form an opinion.
Yeah.
And that has been something that has happened in the last 8-10 years as well.
But it's and you, like I said, it's coming from the top.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to keep this episode bipartisan, right? But there's a lot that has happened in this election cycle that has been a very offensive to me as a man, to me as an individual.
Yeah.
That has come from, high sitting officials, right? That are saying things on screen, that are saying things on podcasts, on social media, and it tailors how people in my community interact with me.
For sure.
It tailors how my immediate circles relate. There's real power in media and influence and stuff like that. So, like you're saying, that whole reality of like, I cannot talk to you. I cannot interact with you. I'm extremely hurt. I'm frazzled. I'm frustrated because you don't agree with me 100%. That is, and I'm gonna get a little religious, that is anti-God, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not right to me.
That's not right.
And
you'll never find anyone that agrees 100% with you. Even your wife, the closest person to you, you know what I mean, would never agree like 100% with you. Like, yes, they might go ahead with whatever you're planning because you're the head of the family, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they 100% agree either.
Right.
Because we're all different.
Right.
She was made different, I was made different, you know, and yeah, man.
And I believe, well, you're a husband. I'm going to be a husband.
Yeah.
And whoever's watching this that is a husband or a wife, chime in if you want. But I believe that each individual should be respected in that disagreement, and that should turn into some sort of discussion for y'all to move forward and become closer. Not something that distances you apart.
Right.
It's not healthy for me to just be silent if I disagree with something or viewpoint or something that my significant other has.
Yeah.
I think the healthy thing is to get to the bottom of it, if you will.
Yeah.
Put in that work.
Right.
I don't want to cohabitate and create with a robot.
Right. For sure. For sure. Oh, man. Yeah.
Anyway, so
cool.
Go vote. But more importantly, are we still recording? More importantly, by the time this episode gets out, we'll have a new president, there'll be new mayors, there'll be new senators. Just over the next 2 to 4 years, really encourage you to understand and know who's in each position and how that position plays into affecting your daily life. And in 2028 or 2026, I think we'll all be the better for it in terms of what we bring to the table as constituents and informed voters. So to all business owners, young people, building families, I know it may look dark and dismal, but there is hope. But the hope rests in your ability to take on the challenge and the opportunity that we have to be involved. So, you have anything to say?
Nah, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah.
We're gonna be okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be all right.
So we're here at your local voting spot. After everything we've talked about, should people be able to know who you're voting for?
Well, the whole point of this episode is to encourage you to vote and that your vote matters. And I'm not going to say it doesn't matter who you vote for, but what's more important than that is that you understand your rights, right? So you understand your rights and you understand that you actually do have a voice and get involved. If you think you can guess who I voted for or whatever, cool. But I hope that we can respect each other enough for that not to deter you from, I don't know, interacting or promoting business or being a good Christian or a good person, right? So.
All right.
Sorry. Morning.
How about a golden ticket for those of us who like the biblical perspective?
All right.
That you?
Yes.
You?
Yes.
Praise the Lord.
You're so tall.
I know.